Hi, Lukey. Thought I'd record a video. Football Manager 2025 cancelled. Basically, what happened was it was due to be released in November. It was going to be a massive change from FM24 and the few that had happened before. They were bringing in what's called the Unity engine, so the games were going to look better. They started developing it, and they did it in a way where they couldn't release a FM25 of the old style. They were purely sort of locked in. They had to deliver it of the new style, the new Unity engine that they were trying to use, and got to a point where they delayed it to sort of March, and because they just couldn't do it in time, they got to the point now where they're like, "There's no point releasing this." Now they're going to release one. My guess is September. This year's Football Manager 26 will come out in September, October time, I think, with this sort of very, very enhanced gameplay. So quite a different game. Just too much to do within 1 year cycle. So they've taken a year off. It would cost them a bunch of money. Anyway, that's just what's happening with Football Manager. How I play Football Manager, I initially downloaded FM24 when I was heading to the UK on a trip. I just was like 28 hours in a plane. I use Epic Games Launcher. And if I go to the library, I've got the pre-game and resource archive, which I don't use. I just pretty much play the game. Thought I'd take you through what I've done in Football Manager. A lot of this was on long flights, on sort of just sometimes sort of an hour here or there. I've played it a lot. If I go to home, profile, the first probably thing is to explain my character. My pseudonym I play with is William Jess. Now, William Jess is Scottish. He was born in Arbroath. He's based off a character, or he's based off a player from Football Manager. I'm trying to from Championship Manager 97-98. Whilst at university, me and a friend were playing. We were joint manager of AC Milan. We desperately needed a left winger. We were looking all over the globe for a left winger. Couldn't find one. Found a few we were interested in. One of them was a young player. He was 18. He was playing for Celtic. His name was Willie Jess. We guessed that he was Ian Jess's. It was a regen based off Ian Jess's name. You might remember Ian Jess, who was a striker in the 90s. I'm thinking maybe he played for Bradford City and in Scotland somewhere. But anyway, Willie Jess was this player in the game. Chris said to me, "I don't want to buy him. I don't want to buy him." I was like, "Well, who else is there?" And we basically had a big fight about it, and eventually I got my way, and we signed Willie Jess. And the legend is born. He got a 4 out of 10 on debut, and virtually never played for AC Milan after that. He's sort of always been the character that I've played Football Manager with ever since. He's a bit younger. We're in 2040 now, so he's a fair bit younger than in the game than what he would have been, because he would have been 18 in 97, which would have made him about our age. So he probably should have been born 78. I made him a little bit younger just because I wanted to have a long save. And I thought if I made him too old, he might get into sort of 60s and 70s. And I don't know if Football Manager stops you getting good jobs at that age. Anyway, this is Willie Jess's story in this iteration of Football Manager. Willie Jess is he is Scottish. He was born in Arbroath. Therefore, I started unemployed. I'm going to go to job history. I'm going to go right to the bottom first. Here we go. We start unemployed December 2023. He gets the Queen of the South job. I need to go back. Queen of the South job. Queen of the South League One's really small. Like, it's only 10 teams. We were ninth. I mean, you can see the real Queen of, or not the real Queen of the South, but Queen of the South in February 2040. So like 17 years later, are back where I picked them up. I basically picked them up ninth or 10th. I think they were playing level on points here. We managed to sneak fourth. I think if you look at here now, we're in February. I think if I take over now, that's too late. I think I took them over and had a really good run and managed to crack fourth. Going back to that screen, we got promoted. We actually won in the playoffs there, finishing fourth, which was great. Got up to the championship. Narrowly missed out on winning the league. Was a bit disappointing to lose that on the final day of the season. But we did win the SPFL Trust Trophy, which the reserves of the top teams in Scotland play in, and so it's almost like the League Cup, but the Scottish top teams don't play in it. So we won that. We probably should have won that. We were the best team in the championship, basically or close to the best team in the championship that year. Get promoted, rebuild, end up finishing third, manager of the year, falling just behind Rangers and Celtic as you'd expect. Had a really, really good year. And then 26-27, this is just showing the reserves because we fielded the reserves in the Premiership that I coached too. I end up leaving reasonably soon into that season. I'm not sure if I actually played a game in that season or whether I just left. So July 26. So I didn't play after having guided them to third and qualifying for the Europa League. I didn't end up going and doing anything with that. I went, no, I want another challenge. I'm Queen of the South. I finished third. I'm not going to supplant Rangers and Celtic. It's too hard. This is a really good opportunity. What would Willie Jess do now? He would seek to go somewhere else. I looked foreign and I found this odd club in Norway. Now, Erd, I think it's pronounced Erd in the Norwegian Premier League. This is years, so it's not like England and Scotland. They play calendar years in the Norwegian Premier League. If I go to Erd and look at the managers that I arrive at the end of 2026 or August 2026. I only really stay there actually just over a year. I leave in December the following year. But we're basically like the end of one season. So I save Erds, and this just means football club in Norwegian BK, or their equivalent of FC. And I take over, steer them clear of relegation. It's not that big a league. It's something like that. I think we were around there. I'm not sure we were kind of bottom or anything like that. I steer as clear of relegation. We end up finishing eighth. Quite close to this sort of, qualifying for potentially like European football and stuff like that. So we finished eighth. So we had a good year. Win it the next year. So we win the Premier League the next year. Had some awesome signings. One of them, the tactic that I use, might go actually to my Halifax team at the moment. 3 advanced forwards all on attack, 2 Segundo Volantes on attack, 2 wing-backs in support. The 2 wing-backs in support, pretty much at every club, these guys rate so highly. They're normally I normally get young players who are just really excel in that. And 3 ball-playing defenders, sweeper keeper on defend. It's actually a tactic I downloaded from somebody called Squirrel Plays, who's on YouTube. But that's been my formation pretty much the whole of my career. Erd, I take to win the Norwegian Premier League. Bit the same. I probably should have stayed and given the Champions League a bit of a crack with Erd. I kind of was a little bit like, it's a bit weird in Norway because you sort of win the league in October and then the Champions League's actually happening and has only just really started. So you sort of have to wait till the following September to get into it. And I just didn't want to wait 9 months or, actually 11 months of game time to actually then start playing Champions League. So I think if it kicked off straight away, I would have stayed and done that. But I was like, no, we've won the league. I'll win it again if I stay here. It's probably not much of a challenge. I had hoped that a bigger club would come in. Nothing seemed to happen. I did spend a fair amount of time, I think, on a manager holiday here. Took over Jamaica. Jamaica's the time I was at Jamaica wasn't great. I think I did have a bit of time in the Copa America. I think we're about here. So yeah, I take over. The previous guy had won the Nations League, won the Gold Cup. I come in. We lose to Croatia in a friendly. We're pretty good in the Nations League, but lose to the USA 3-2. No harm done there. We qualify for the World Cup. We play in the Copa America. We beat Paraguay 1-0. I think Paraguay were hosts. We beat the hosts in the opening game of the tournament, but then I play a little bit of a weakened team in the second game just because I want to keep them fresh. We don't play as well as we should do. We probably should have got a draw from that game. I mean, we were trying to get a goal. They score, make it 3-1. We get make it 3-2. But and then really disappointed to lose against Venezuela in the last game. We have someone sent off late, but we were just clearly beaten. I think I quit straight after that, actually, to be honest. It was a good Copa America. It was a good experience. But I wanted to find a club at the end of the day. I think I was just at the point where I wanted to find a club. I took over as Scotland under-21s manager. The idea there was I was going to work with some players who would be the Scotland players in the future. I would identify all these Scottish players that I wanted to use when I was Scotland manager. That was I got into my Tenerife. I get the Tenerife job, and I really just got into that so much that I ended up just going. There's some real challenges here. One of the other things with Scotland, I mean, this isn't showing it very much, but there's 400 people called Clark in every squad. They're all Clarks in everything. And I just got sick of trying to work out which Clark I was picking and which one I wasn't. So that's why I resigned from that. Nothing particular fancy around that sort of time. Tenerife, I took over Tenerife. I haven't really been offered a job or anything like that, even though I've obviously shown Queen of South third, winning the league. We pick up around here where Andorra were, we pick up Tenerife. I wouldn't say it was too early in the season. Where are we? Oh, it's December. So I think we were quite low in December. I think it shows here is that they were 15th the previous year. And then I take over. We pretty much go 7th. They were 7th the previous year. They had struggled the first half of this year, but I get them up and I actually win the league late. So we were really flying in the league, end up keeping them 7th, get 3rd. And that's about the time I leave. I think I have had a look at this. So that I did leave when we were 3rd this year. Once I left, they did fall a little bit to 5th. But effectively, we qualify for Europa League here. We qualify for Champions League here. I think we had some good wins. If I look at back in those days, I think we're back here. This is the year I finished 7th, I think. And yeah, here we are in the Europa League. We're beating. Who are we beating in the Europa League? Rangers, lost to Chelsea in the quarters, I think. In the group stages, we have some good results. We beat Dinamo, we beat Braga, I think that is. Nice, we beat. Bayer, we beat 3-0. Copenhagen, Austria Vienna. Following year, I don't think I see out all of this Champions League campaign, but I do see this. I do look after the start of it. Haifa we beat, Club Brugge we lost to, Real Madrid we beat, Bayern we beat. We got some big wins, 4-0 over Atletico. This sort of team that I put together, I made quite a bit of money for. So I think if I go to records And if I look at some of this in terms of biggest win, that was mine, I think. We won 10 in a row. I think that was me too. Maybe it wasn't, but this guy was brilliant. Here, where I take over, get him on a free. His goals aren't that great, but he came on and did well for me. I was hoping there'd be something about transfers, but I think it's actually on this page. This guy here, probably my best signing. He was pretty expensive for those days, 11 million. Only really just got into the first division, or might have even been in the second division when I get him, and I sell him just before I leave. I sort of forced to sell him, but I was making big money for Tenerife. So when I left, they're still flying in, compared to where they were, just because they had such a good financial position. A lot of the players I signed were young. I just couldn't compete with Real Madrid and Barcelona. I felt like the Rangers and Celtic thing, where it's like, is this team going to compete with them year in, year out? I also, Simeone left Madrid, Atletico, and I was like, that would actually be quite a good, next step. I've taken Tenerife to third. Can I then take Atletico, who were down here, and challenge the two big? I felt like I could challenge them with Atletico in a way that I couldn't with Tenerife. Simeone goes, I apply for the job, I don't get it. And then I was like, right, I'm done with Spain. I was like, I'm done with Spain. Where am I? Let me go here. So done with Spain. Go to Olympic Lyon. Really bad decision. 50 days, terrible results. Realise the squad needs, as I've shown you my tactic. Some players fit it, some people don't. I felt like I had a lot of wood that I was going to clear in at Lyon, and then I'd need to bring in a lot of players to kind of play to fit my team. I just got to the point where I just couldn't be bothered. Decided to do something else and became Scotland coach. The missed out Cameroon there in between, just coming into summer. The Cameroon job is available. So if I look at this, William Jess, 14th of April to the 21st of July, I'm there for 98 days. Takeover, it's a World Cup year. The World Cup was in Turkey. Let's have a look at the where is it scheduled? Yeah, I was in the right place. 2030. So come in, take over in April, have a good hit-out win against Algeria, and this is a local team in Turkey. So we have a good hit-out. We win our first game against Turkey, the hosts again. I'm playing the hosts in two big competitions in a row, the Copa America and the World Cup. We win both of, we won that one. We beat Uzbekistan as well, beat Czechia. So we won all of our group games, which with Cameroon's a great result. We win our second round game against Chile, which I thought was a big surprise. I wasn't expecting that. One of the best results I've had as manager is we beat France 2-1. Frank Magri. I can't show you him because the game's forgotten about him. But, 2 goals for me, World Cup round of 16 against France in Turkey. Brilliant. Haaland was just insane in this tournament. Had 14 goals in the whole tournament. Scored 2 against me. We were well and truly beaten in that. Lost 3-1, but really it's 3-0. I quit straight away afterwards. Great. Come in, bring Willie Jess in for a World Cup. Reach the quarterfinals with Cameroon. Pretty fun sort of time. As I just showed you, take over Scotland after the Lyon thing. So this is like 2 years later. We're sort of post here, if I go into Scotland. The idea with this was to basically go into Scotland and be Scotland manager while pick up like a tiny club, like a League Two club, and just like manage them on the side whilst managing Scotland. That was the idea. I got a bit distracted from that, as you'll see. But if I just go back to 2032 when I take over, we've just had a European Championship. Scotland lose 2, win 1. Ben Doak, he's currently playing for Liverpool. If I show you him, he's there currently playing for Liverpool in real life. He looks like he will leave Liverpool and do something else. I don't think he's going to be big, but probably a little bit like this. He's probably the sort of player that actually will end up kind of. Oh, actually, sorry. In this, he plays a lot for Liverpool, but I don't think Liverpool really go on and be the club in this game that they should be and are in real life. They struggle a bit in the sort of mid table for a while in the 2020s and 30s. So I think there was a place for him there, whereas I think in real life he'll go to a Middlesbrough, he'll go to something like that. So Ben Doak was part of the team. Obviously, the Euros didn't really work out. We have Nations League Group B. We end up winning that. We have two big results against Finland. Away, we lose to Hungary, but we beat them at home, and we beat Ukraine at home and draw away. So we're pretty good out of the block. Wales, we smash in a World Cup qualifiers. We have a difficult we beat Switzerland, then they beat us, so that's sort of us equal with Switzerland. We lose both games to England, but then so does everybody else. We smash Wales again. Switzerland trip up in one of the Wales games. We beat Latvia home and away. We've qualified for the World Cup, which is good for a Scotland manager. A couple of crappy draws in the build-up. I was concentrating on my club save there. I wasn't too bothered by that. Good friendly win. World Cup is in Japan, so we could play Japan in a friendly, get a narrow win in a friendly. So, quite good at beating the hosts of major tournaments in their backyard. World Cup Group F, beat UAE 4-0, smash them, which is a good result. Norway, I get a bit of revenge for my Cameroon knockout. Good 2-1 win. Haaland, does Haaland play that one? I'm not sure if he I think he played, but I think, yeah, he did play because he scored. And then probably the result of my career. There's probably some with, Tenerife beating Real Madrid in the Champions League was big. Beating Colombia in that last group game 7-2. In some ways, it was probably a dead rubber in that we'd already kind of qualified, but 7-2 with Scotland, and there you see. So big result there, and we got what's called absolutely FM'd in the next game. We were the better team. We had more of the chances. They got a couple of goals with two shots. Pretty much by the 60th minute, when Hickey gets sent off, they've only had two shots. They've scored them both. We get back on track. We're down to 10 men. When you play that many games in Football Manager with a squad of 23 or however many you have at a World Cup, they are all frigging knackered. Come extra time, we just couldn't. Once Z scores, we're done. And that was my Scotland career. I end up calling it time there. Again, I probably, to be fair, got into my club save, despite wanting to kind of pick up a really, really small team and take them forward. I got the Motherwell job. I think if I look at when I got the job, I got the job in November. So they were struggling in November. And you can see that here they were third. I do win the Europa Conference League there. I think I did mention that I won the second division there with Tenerife, that we got up, but we got up as winners. But yeah, I win the Europa Conference League in that year, which was pretty massive. So it was kind of interesting. Some of the teams, I think that was 32. So yeah, look, we beat Wolves in the final 6-1. We lose the Scottish Cup final on penalties to Rangers. We beat Ajax 4-1, 5-1 over two legs. We beat Trabzonspor, Antwerp. We beat Celtic on the way to that Scottish Cup final. We had a really, we were quite good in the league stages. I think no one really that good in that comp. So that was, I'll carry on. But the next year we finished second because of what we did in the Europa League, and finishing third, we were now in the we were now in the Europa League rather than the Europa Conference League. There's a good win away at Torino 4-1, Lille 2-0, Wolves 3-0. We beat Braga again. What else is there? Carrier Bag. Love Carrier Bag. Fenerbahce, draw against Sporting. Yeah, I don't know. There's probably not that many great results in there. Beat Basel, beat Torino again. We lose in the Scottish Cup to Rangers. We lose to Bournemouth in the semis, is what happens in the end in that Europa League campaign. We don't make the Scottish Cup. We get knocked out by Rangers, as I showed you. But what actually happened in that campaign was we finished second, and that was big because what it meant was we qualified for the Champions League the following year. So this is kind of the best season I think I've had, maybe, in the game. We had qualified by beating Anderlecht and beating Young Boys, which we did. And then in the league stage are pretty ordinary. Lose to Man City there. Beat Inter 4-2. That was probably a big result. Beat Basel 4-0. The results are improving here. Beat Marseille. Beat Arsenal in the Champions League. So it's a pretty I think we lose. We draw against this is AC Milan now. AC Milan, we draw the first game but lose the second game 2-0, get knocked out. That was the round of 16. Wasn't the best, but we had some great results to qualify. We get knocked out quite early on in the Scottish Cup, but effectively we win the league. And so if I go back to, here is, this is Motherwell's history in this little period of the game. Only their second league win ever. The first since 1932. Really big finish. We win the league. We've had a good Champions League campaign. I think that's probably enough. And I go, okay, let me do something else. A few jobs come up. Few interviews happen. I'm pretty unfussed, I have to say, about what's on offer. I think I had a bit of a manager holiday. Let me see here. That takes us up to sort of the end of Motherwell. And then I've just had this sort of really sort of, you've just won the Scottish Premiership. Done an amazing sort of Champions League for a team that's sort of clearly only the best one of the other clubs in Scotland, winning the league, and having a good Champions League campaign. And I decided to go to the Vanarama National League North, and Halifax are down here. I think I started reasonably early into the season. I had tried to get the team that was bottom, but they didn't want to upgrade their facilities, and I really wanted to make sure that whoever I took was going to be able to support moving up through the divisions. I probably won't talk a little bit. This has gone on a bit of a while. These are all just Manager of the Month awards and things like that, and Manager of the Year awards. Finished fourth in the Vanarama National League. As you can see, fourth is a playoff place. Lose the FA Trophy final and lose the playoff final in pretty much the same week. Sometimes that happens in Football Manager. You just have a bad week. You have two games that you lose back to back. You sometimes think you're going to win. You're going to lose one. Well, you're going to lose one every now and again, and you lose one, and then you go, well, we'll rebound, and then you lose another one. It just so happened there were those two finals, and so we had to go back and play this again. But what this actually did was it got me ahead. By the time this was a huge. Let me see if I can find it. If I go past winners. So there we go. We won it in 36-37 records. Most points in a season, 125 points. So, I mean, I don't know how many wins that was, but we were, and I can't show you the table from that league, but, we absolutely smashed it. I think I was manager of the month 5 times. We win the league, and because my squad was just clearly better by that point. I don't think it was clearly better here, but by the time, and I actually there